Peace everybody, it's Will here. We're back with another video. This time we're going to be talking about the 4 types of civilizations and how we're going to level up and how our ancestors are in one of these civilizations. Let's get into it.
And I don't really need nobody, yeah. I can't really see nobody, yeah. And I don't really need nobody.
So in my last video, we spoke about dimensions. Now we're going to talk about civilizations. Because we figured examples on how the Egyptians, the Atlanteans, the Comintans and all this shit, how some of their science would look like, and some ideas of their sciences. Because our civilization, we're at a 0.72 if I'm not mistaken, and most of them higher civilizations that we look back for in the past, they are fucking at least 1 to 3 as far as we know, and that's really high. And once we get into it, once you understand those numbers and those levels, you're gonna really get what's really going on. So let's get into some of this shit.
More energy could be classified as a more advanced type of civilization. Kardashev then quantified the amount of energy consumed by civilization and used this as an indicator in classifying possible alien civilizations. This method of classification is today called the Kardashev scale. Kardashev himself defined only 3 types of civilizations, from type 1 to type 3. But this is expanded up to type 7 by subsequent researchers. Let's consider how each type of civilization might look. A type 0 civilization uses natural resources found on their local planet to obtain energy. A somewhat advanced type 0 civilization would also be using resources other than trees, such as oil or natural gas.
This part into elevating up in civilizations is energy consumption. How are you using your energy? How efficiently are you using your energy, and what's your source of energy? Because like I said, we fall under one because our sources of energy is like under the ground, killing the planet and all that shit. So there's no good source of energy. So what's leveling up? If we find natural sources and natural things, how help us level back up to going back into one of these type of civilizations.
Is that it either has not developed propulsor technology or generates power for all its propulsors by burning chemical fuel. A Type 0 civilization could be described as a baby civilization within the grand scheme of alien civilizations. In the Kardashev scale, the type of civilization is determined based on the amount of energy produced per second.
The civilizations just falls back to what I said earlier. We're using gas, natural resources, a lot of things that don't benefit us. So with this, what he's talking about is basically we're, like we say, we're babies, we're worse than babies, we're the bad kid. Like, we're trying to fuck up everything and use it all up and use it as a bad source of energy and all that shit. So we're basically, like we said, where I said 7.2, that's basically we're learning what to do with it, but we're not using it in any of the right way.
A Type 1 civilization produces at least 10 to the 16th power watts of energy per second. According to the calculation method by astronomer Carl Sagan, our global civilization in 2018 would be at a level 0.72 on the Kardashev scale, based on the total amount of energy we consume. The amount of energy would need to be increased 10 times over in order to advance 0.1 points on this scale. We can therefore estimate that it will take roughly 100 to 200 years for our civilization to increase from a level of 0.72 to 1.0. A Type 1 civilization is also called a planetary civilization. A planetary civilization does not depend on natural resources such as soot or oil. Instead, their main source of power would be nuclear energy. Although our current civilization at level 0.72 does make use of nuclear power plants to convert nuclear energy into electricity, these plants obtain energy through nuclear fission. Nuclear fission is hardly ideal as it has a low energy conversion ratio, generates radioactive waste, and carries a high risk of nuclear accidents. A Type 1 civilization would instead use nuclear fusion. It is thanks to nuclear fusion that our sun has continued to burn for billions of years. If we could develop the ability to make use of nuclear fusion, we could obtain clean, safe, and nearly unlimited nuclear energy. Propulsors used within a Type 1 civilization would mostly be powered by nuclear energy. Once we become a Type 1 civilization, we would be able to send manned spacecraft to nearly any planet in the solar system. Our advanced science and technology would eliminate cancer and other incurable diseases caused by viruses and infections, and developments in regenerative medicine would allow us to regenerate any organ. This would drastically increase our average lifespan. We would be capable of living in the sea and in the clouds, in addition to on land. It's said that it would take around 3,000 years to go from an early Type 1 civilization to an advanced type.
To that's how we learning about the Atlanteans and how these people had their pyramids flying up in the sky and how they had some of their shit underwater. Once you get to a certain level of technology, it don't matter where the fuck you go at. Like it doesn't apply to you like that because your energy consumption is still the same. You're not hindered by whether you're in the sky, land, or underwater. So that's the biggest things with these ancient races. You want to say our ancestors, the Anunnaki, is one of the biggest things that they was using back then was these different type of sources and all this to go underwater and have their water cities and all that crazy stuff. Because they knew the power of energy and they knew how to make clean sources to not be detrimental to the planet.
A Type 2 civilization is also called a stellar civilization. The main energy source of a Type 2 civilization would be nearby stars. Once a civilization reaches the final stages of Type 1, energy generated through artificial nuclear fusion on a planetary scale is no longer sufficient for advances in science and technology. The most efficient and realistic means of obtaining energy would then be to take it from nearby stars.
With that, the Galactic Confederation, I just like to say whatever you want to call them, this group of governmental beings that's up there type shit that's in an orderly fashion. This is how we get into how they function now, how they move. They get their energy off stars, they recycle off suns, they're using our sun to power their ships, they're using our sun to open portals. This shit, they're using our sun as a fucking base too. So it's just like at other stars and other different things. Like I say, do a little more research, you can see how many things that they're using that they can use type shit. I'm just giving y'all 1 to 3 right now so y'all can get an idea, because by the end of this video I do have a certain plan that can get us to at least Type 1, and we're going to talk about that at the end, but I'm going to let him speak a little bit more.
Called a Dyson sphere. He conjectured that, as civilization developed, it would ultimately become capable of obtaining energy from nearby stars. One means of doing so would be to use a so-called Dyson sphere, a sort of shell built around a star. A Dyson sphere could be used to obtain most of the energy released by the star it covers. However, it would be inefficient and unrealistic to completely cover a star with such a sphere, and other structures have been proposed as being more realistic, such as a Dyson ring installed around a star, or a Dyson swarm consisting of multiple Dyson rings. Once our civilization can reach Type 2, we will no longer suffer from energy-related problems in practical life. This will also eliminate poverty. We would be able to freely travel to and return from any planet in the solar system, and would take our first steps toward colonizing space. In the field of life science, our regenerative medicine technology would reach the genetic level, and we would be capable of regenerating any part of the body. At our current pace, it's said that our civilization will become a Type 2 civilization in 100,000 to 1 million years.
Has basically told you the Galactic Confederation, all these people will be Type 3. And if you study dimensions, they function in a higher dimension and their energy sources are way different. So you have to watch the dimension video I posted and watch this video and go do some research, and you have to mash them two together to understand how these beings function and how these entities use their spaceships slash planets slash stars, whatever you want to call it. It could be all of those things in one, and it will appear for one thing to you. So that's what goes into dimension, how advanced these people are. The fucking ship will be, you go on the ship is way bigger than what it looks like on the outside, because they understand dimensions, they understand the power of this shit. So like I said, a Type 3 civilization is where the Galactic Federation stands on and where they do most of their work at. It goes up to 7 and 8, like I said, but we keep it into where you could understand it within your head type shit. But let's get back into it.
A Type 3 civilization is also called a galactic civilization. A Type 3 civilization would obtain energy using similar methods to that of a Type 2 civilization. However, they would gather energy from stars both near and far, all throughout the galaxy. A Type 3 civilization would also see the first use of anti-gravity devices. Anti-gravity technology would be used not only for vehicles, but on an astronomical scale, including planets. In my previous video, Massive UFO Near the Sun, I showed footage of mysterious objects capable of freely approaching and leaving the surface of the sun. These could very well be energy collectors equipped with anti-gravity devices sent by a Type 3 civilization. A Type 3 civilization could use wormholes to warp throughout the galaxy, but would not yet be capable of creating wormholes. Type 3 life forms would have already extended their lifespans to the maximum possible for their species, so the field of life science would have reached its endpoint. The next goal for such a civilization would be to overcome their natural lifespans by extracting consciousness from flesh and achieving immortality. However, this would not be possible for a Type 3 civilization. Although Kardashev believed this to be the peak of civilization.
That's why I'm gonna have to cut bro off, because he really capping, because these beings and these motherfuckers achieved a very high level of spirituality. That's basically what he's trying to tell you. That, oh, they're gonna take the concepts out. But no, they understand what a soul is. They understand how that shit functions. They understand how to redirect it. They understand that shit. So, like I said, these little videos, we try to tell y'all little shit in between and throw y'all off, so y'all won't really think about it, so y'all won't really understand what's really going on. But definitely they trying to let you know that these motherfuckers are very highly spiritual, and they can do these different things. And he's trying to keep it low level, so they won't be able to tell you too much information. But like I said, y'all need to go research these different types of civilizations. Now, keep you in mind, I do have a plan to at least get us to Type 1 and going back to nature and doing all that great things and have these different technologies and all that. But you're going to have to watch the second video that's coming with this, where we talk more about that and I give out that plan strategically and a little more science and a little more detailed shit. And y'all just let me know down in the comments if y'all want to see that video, if y'all want to have that discussion about those topics. So I'm gonna end this one on that. Let y'all know how we got up to Type 4 civilization, Type 3, excuse me, Type 3 civilization, how the Galactic Confederation would work, how the Anunnaki would be functioning on these certain levels like back in the day. Cause to give y'all like an example, like it was they was coming down here like the Anunnaki. Like I said, that's the best name I got for them. I don't know what else you would like to call it. I don't know what deeper shit you like. But whatever the words you like to put on it, this was a level that these people were at. This was the skill level that they was at type shit. The Egyptians, the mummifying shit, they understood how to navigate souls and do all that. They understood astral travel, because this will be a part of that. You wouldn't be able to be one of these civilizations if you didn't have no idea about spirituality, bro. They would be just running around here like these government motherfuckers. So let's be real here. They achieve a very high level of spirituality. That's why they're able to use these different objects in these different spaceships without causing no harm or being unnoticed, because they're being natural. They're functioning in a certain way that's not really hindering nothing. So we wouldn't even be noticed, because they can, like we say on the Dimensions videos, these motherfuckers know how to phase in and out of reality too, y'all. They know how to be overlapping on another dimension of you and be occupying the same space as you without you even fucking knowing, bro. So, like, study these different types of civilizations. I'm just giving y'all an idea of what they working with and how this process would go. Because, like I said, if we talk about we're about to start seeing all of these crazy things, we need to start learning and having some base understanding. So, when this shit do happen, you won't be running around here fucking confused. But, oh, what are they doing? How do they do that? Because these niggas not finna fucking re-explain this shit to you. It was like, damn, this shit's right here. But this will put y'all in. That dog coming in. But yeah, on that note, I'm gonna end the video, y'all. Y'all tap in.